job, and part of that is by staying off the road. With that, let me turn it over to Ronnie Hakem for her report. We also have Kevin Wisely to my left, who is in charge of emergency management. Ronnie?
Thank you, Governor. As the governor noted, we had the advantage of knowing that this storm was coming. So based on our prior storm experience, we took proper precautions, and so our morning rush hour, as the governor noted, ran relatively smoothly this morning. Our snow operations actually began last night when we laid up our subway trains in our underground tunnels so that they would be in good condition and ready to go this morning, and in fact, we were able to push our entire fleet out this morning for service. We are going to do that again this afternoon so that the fleet will again be ready for our evening rush hour. And throughout the day so far, we have not had any significant problems. We did cut back some of our bus service today, but knowing that we would have enough buses for the demand, recognizing it's a light ridership day. We have all the service that we need, but we don't want our buses getting stuck, and they are, of course, subject to our local road conditions. Most of our buses are equipped with chains. You'll see them out there, but we encourage our bus riders and our bus customers to use our Bus Time app, because that way they'll know where their buses are and when they're coming to their bus stop. We took, as the governor has noted, major preparation steps. We've had thousands of extra MTA staff out in our system doing everything from running snow removal machinery, sweeping, salting, making sure our stations and our platforms are in good condition for our customers, as well as being available to respond to developments as they arise. Service across our region has been proceeding without major interruptions or incidents. The railroads have experienced some sporadic delays due to snow accumulation, but nothing that is significantly affecting service at this time. As the governor notes, we are paying particular attention to Long Island. They are predicted to get heavy winds as well as the most snow, which can add up to blizzard conditions. The governor has been encouraging early release by employers, so the Long Island Railroad has been responsive to that and has already scheduled 4 additional early getaway trains leaving Penn Station as early as 1:49 p.m. Metro North, of course, has plenty of capacity in its afternoon and evening rush service. I'm encouraging all customers, no matter what mode you ride in the MTA network, to follow us at mta.info, use our apps, check our social media alerts to be aware of any service changes as we go through the afternoon and into this evening's rush hour. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Ronnie. I'm also directing any state agencies that are located on Long Island to do an early release for non-essential personnel. And that will start this afternoon. And as you heard from Ms. Hakem, the LIRR has additional getaway trains. I like the sound of that, getaway trains. The trains will be there. But again, this is, we've been through this quite a few times, but don't underestimate the potential danger. The visibility is going to be very low. The snow is at a problematic level. And again, when there is a volume of cars on the road, the plows, the personnel can't even do their work. And all it takes is one car to get stuck and everything backs up. And then you have a major problem. So please, every citizen of New York is part of this also. Be responsible, be diligent. I know everything has to be done today. Sometimes it really doesn't have to be done today. And if you go out there, not only do you endanger yourself, but you endanger others. We have over 4,000 people out there who are working to keep people safe. And we don't want to make it unnecessarily difficult for them. I've been on the roads. I am telling you, the roads are dangerous. And I don't care if you have a four-wheel drive car and you think you're a superhero. They are dangerous, and many of the ramps are very, very difficult to drive. So if you don't have to be out, don't be out. Questions?
Was there ever any thought of shutting down the subways preemptively, or?
We've done that in the past. These are all very tough calls, Zach. You don't want to overreact. You don't want to underreact. I tend to err on the side of caution. Why? Because we've been in situations where people could have died. Luckily, no one has as a consequence of our action. I believe there was a casualty today. Somebody had a heart attack shoveling snow. But I've been on highways in the middle of the night with people stranded in cars at 3 o'clock in the morning, where the car runs out of gasoline and they can't keep the heat on. And it gets very frightening very quickly. So I take these situations very seriously, and you listen to the weather forecast. Sometimes they change. You make the best judgment you can. Again, I err on the side of caution, but in this case, no, we did not seriously consider closing the subways. It is always a possibility. Closing subways, closing roadways is a possibility. We did do a tandem trailer ban on certain roads, 84, et cetera, more in the Hudson Valley. These are the tractor trailers that have 2 trailers on them. But we have not closed any roads. We don't anticipate closing any roads or closing the subways or closing the airports. But that is something that we always consider. The state basically is responsible for airports, buses, trains, state roads, and we're constantly weighing what to do with each of them. If the weather forecast stays as predicted and people do what they should do, I think we'll be okay.
In terms of the commuter rails, what do you know about ridership this morning compared to usual?
It's been very low. So Metro North saw basically 30% of their normal weekday ridership. Long Island Railroad similarly very low ridership at this point.
Does that help?
It does, but remember, we still run our scheduled service. So, we are running trains on the rail because that also keeps the rail free and helps us assure that in the evening rush we'll have train service available for people when they need it.
Have you spoken to the mayor, and what kind of coordination you have with both your offices?
The teams have been talking all day, I believe starting yesterday, Zach. We do in New York City, we are responsible for the subways, the airports, the buses. So we want to make sure that we coordinate with what the mayor is doing on the roads and more that they know what we're doing.
I know you're heading to Long Island, but if you could just recap, I know you said you're not closing roads, but if you could describe what you plan on doing with the LIE, and are there any plans for, closing down the LIRR, or just if you could clarify more about what's happening on Long Island?
There's no plan to close down the Long Island Railroad or the subways. At this time, they're up, they're running, the preparation was done. As I mentioned before, I thought it was done very well. So we haven't had any major delays on mass transit. The keeping people off the roads is very important. And we've had a number of incidents on the roads. In the Hudson Valley, we have quite a few people stuck on ramps, which then backs up traffic. On the Long Island Railroad, on the Long Island Expressway, we currently, as we sit here, have quite a few ramps with people stuck on them. And this is a problem. The fear is, as you get closer to rush hour and the volume increases on the roads and the visibility decreases and the snow increases, this is going to be a problematic situation. So businesses consider early release, use mass transit if you have to, or just stay off the roads. But we know, as it is now, it is problematic. There are many, many on and off ramps on the LIE where cars are stuck right now, and we're deploying tow trucks, etc. But this just cascades. One car gets stuck, that backs up 15 cars, and then the tow truck can't get through, the plow can't get through, and you have a major situation. And they are now developing. And the only way to safeguard it is keeping people off the roads. You know, there are people think, you know, they're great drivers, and I'm sure they are, and they have great vehicles. It doesn't matter, you know. Once the snow turns to ice or the slush turns to ice, and you try going up a hill, and you get stuck, that's it. That is it. And you can sit there for hours, and you can cause major obstacles for a lot of people. So that's the fear. If it is, I'm going to now look at the roads on my way out to Long Island. If it is more than I discussed, or if it's getting worse, then we'll take more action. On the question from Zach before, you know, this is, you calibrate this as you go through the day, and you adjust your actions to the conditions. You go with the weather forecast, but sometimes that changes. I want to be careful what I say, because one storm, what I said was viewed as critical of the weather forecast, and I was bombarded by weather people from across the country. So I'm not going to make that mistake again. But you look at the actual conditions, and then you adjust your reaction to the actual conditions. And if it gets worse, we'll take more action. Okay? Thank you very much.
We've been listening to Governor Cuomo speaking about the roads across New York State. He's saying if you do not absolutely have to be out, to stay indoors. A number of situations that he's been telling us about, and one of them a dangerous situation for a man who was shoveling, having a heart attack out there. And there have been the warnings throughout the morning, those health warnings, to be extra vigilant about that.